Hello everybody and welcome back to Hub News Scooby's Random Facts. This is going to be another kind of weird one. I'm going to tell you the true story of the Flying Dutchman, the famous ghost ship. So without further ado, let's jump straight into this one. The Flying Dutchman is one of the most famous ghost stories in the world, popular over the centuries for capturing the imagination and nightmares of sailors, captains, and children, and featuring in many adaptations in books and television in recent decades. Probably in the most recent decades, the most famous adaptation to feature the Flying Dutchman is of course Pirates of the Caribbean. However, what truth is in such an iconic ship and story? Where did she come from? And who were her crew? And why has her legend survived in the history books for centuries? A possible origin for the ghost ship is the Flying Dutchman legend first appears in the mid-16th century, when sailors began recording strange voices they heard while at sea. These voices were said to be the disembodied spirits of those lost at sea. According to legend, the Flying Dutchman was originally part of the Dutch East India Company, a fleet of ships that carried spices and colours back to the Netherlands between the Dutch ports and East India. However, these cannot be verified. In 1641, it's believed that the Dutchman's captain was Hendrik van der Decken. It's said the outward voyage was uneventful, but the return journey was very different, as Van Decken returned to Amsterdam, trying to get home as soon as possible. He decided to sail through the fastest route, which led them through a channel known as the Cape of Good Hope. However, a storm appeared and rocked the oceans to the core. Upon attempting the route, the crew begged for the captain to turn back, fearful for their lives. Now, this is where the story gets a little bit weird and kind of murky. In earlier versions of the story, Captain Van der Decken knew this would be a mistake and tried to turn around, but he was unable to do so due to the high winds and stormy waters. In later versions of this story, Van der Decken downright refuses to turn around and continued into the night's storm. Some versions claim the captain was drunk, where in others they claim he was just insane. Of course, it's impossible to know the truth of the matter. Well, it's been a couple of 100 years, so I doubt it. Especially so many years in the future. So, well, leave it up to you to decide which you like best. Personally, I like the drunk one because, you know, who doesn't love? I don't know. I just like the drunk one. There's too many people called insane these days. Regardless of the reason, the ship was now on a non-return collision course with the storm, and the Flying Dutchman had no way of turning around and coming back. Of course, the crew weren't happy. Why would you be happy if you were on a collision course with a storm? I don't think there's a lot of people that would be happy at that. Certainly people that have a death wish and mutinied against the captain. Well, you're going to. You know, if the captain puts you on a collision course to a storm, throw him overboard. Just throw him overboard. Desperately trying to seize control of the ship, while attempting to turn it back around. But there was no escape. Finally, Van der Decken took matters into his own hands, killing the mutiny leader. That's not good. And throwing his body off the boat. I mean, you don't want to keep a dead body on a boat, do you? Just lob that over the side. Into the storm. Once again, sailing the crew's fate, muttering until doomsday under his breath in madness. We don't know if that's true, of course. That's just a bit of speculation. But he was either drunk or mad, so who knows? At this point in the story, it's believed that an angel is reportedly to have appeared to the captain and challenged his words as this unfolded. Van der Decken, different in his ways, urged the words again, thus sealing the fate of himself and the ship and her crew to sail the seas in this haunted way until doomsday. In other versions of the story that sit between the years of 1680 and 1729, no angel appears in these versions. Instead, the devil himself tricked the captain into sailing the oceans for eternity. However, Satan did give the captain a clause for him to break the curse if he could find a woman and get her to fall in love with him while she remained faithful. He could be free himself and the crew. Therefore, he was allowed to go to land and search for the answer every 7 years. It's a little similar to the Pirates of the Caribbean, where they make, where they make port every 10 years in that movie instead of every 7. So fun. Whatever versions of the story you like the most. So whatever version you like the most. Yeah. The fact remains that the Flying Dutchman on one fateful day found itself heading towards a storm and never came out the other side. Since the storm, the ship has been described as sailing worldwide, usually hovering just above the waves or coming out of the water beneath, described as sailing the other ships that spot it. Therefore, any sightings of the Dutchman sign that incite impending doom. It's on the way. Either way, whether we know this story is true or false, we have no idea what is the truth. But whatever version of the story you like, leave it down in the comments. And there probably was a ship. There probably was a captain named Van der Decken. Whether it's the name given to him or the ship itself as the ghost ship, we'll never know. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!